Welcome back to Peril Pending, and it looks like the cracks are starting to show on reform. Yesterday, we reported on Robert Jenrick seemingly breaking ranks to talk about the 5 million donation, and now it looks like another member of Reform, a former member, still a member in spirit, Dr. Dan Bull. And we're going to see what he was talking about in an article from The Independent by Kate Devlin, titled Reform UK's former chair says Nigel Farage should take a break from politics. Let's get into it. Reform UK's former chair has suggested Nigel Farage should take a break from politics after a bruising week for his party, for the party leader over the £5 million gift from crypto billionaire Christopher Harborne. I mean, we called it here, folks. We called it here first. The cracks are starting to show. I believe, whether or not Farage knows just yet, the party seems to know, and even people that are just sort of spiritual with the party, they're not actually members in the party, even they have figured out this isn't a good look. And unless we're going to be able to give an answer, which I personally don't think they can, because all the answers they've given so far are complete bullshit, they're done for. They are done for, especially considering, again, as we saw last week, 50% of Reform voters themselves are even questioning the legality of this and how sketchy it sort of looks. The article continues that the comms sleaze watchdog is now investigating Mr. Farage for failing to declare the money. The circle is tightening, and this man who has been in politics for over a decade and had nothing but his tummy tickled is finally, it looks like, starting to face some repercussions for his actions. Appearing on Channel 5 this morning, Dr. Bull said, quote, "The party is way bigger than Nigel." And here is where I think one of the first cracks will show. Because, well, if you go back to 2024, Richard Tice was leading the party till Nigel Farage decided to replace him as leader of Reform UK. And he could just do that because it's a limited company. There's nothing to stop. Unlike a regular political party, there isn't a vote for the members, for the MPs, for the councillors, for anybody. Farage is a majority stakeholder, and he can just take over, and he did. So this is why I think this is the first crack, because Dr. Bull, says that the party's bigger than Farage. I'm sure Richard Tice would say that when Farage isn't in the room. The same goes for Jenrick and Suella and the rest of them. But does Farage see it like that? I don't think he does, and I think this is the beginning of how things are going to fall. And now I know in 2025, they did make it so it was a bit more democratic. They made it so that the power was taken away from Farage to just do this again. However, as reported by the BBC, under Reform's new constitution, which was agreed at the party's conference in September, this is back in 2025, members can remove their leader in a no-confident vote, triggered if 50% of them write to the chairman requesting one. Reform MPs can also force a vote if 50 of them or 50% of them request one. But this only applies if there are more than 100 Reform MPs in Parliament. And the party currently only has 5. I think they might have a couple more now, but still, they can't do this. So, yes, on the surface, this looks a lot more democratic. My members can vote me out if they want. However, that will only come into play once we have 100 MPs. And again, they have 5, 7 at the most, maybe. They definitely don't have 10. So there's nothing, like they have no power. All they can try and do is convince Farage to take a step back. Again, like I suspect, coming up with some lie about how the media has put his life in danger again because they're asking very reasonable questions, to use Robert Jenrick's own words. But what's going to happen here? Let me know what you think, because I think this is where the cracks begin. But the main article continues with another quote from Dr. Bull. Politics is a ruthless business, and I think also one of the other things I would say to Farage as a friend and a colleague is he needs to take some time out and have a bit of a break, really. He added in comments reported by the Mail Online. What did I say? What did I say? Even the people in his inner circle realise how bad this looks, so they're pressing him. Make up some lie. Come up with anything. You need to fade away back into the shadows, because if people continue to focus on this, which is obviously all people are going to focus on, because what else has Reform UK done? Like, the smaller scandals about them coming up with racist policies, coming up with hands-made tale-style policies for women, trying to dictate what women and girls should do with their reproductive rights, buying all those flags. They're all terrible, but they're all in the past now. Everybody wants to know what's going on with this 5 million. It's the hot topic. So Farage, you're either going to have to tell the truth, which I don't think he's ever done in my opinion, or you're going to have to slink away back into the shadows. And even your mates are telling you. And the article ends by talking about how there's now a probe into this funding. And it says, if the probe finds he committed a serious breach of parliamentary rules, he could be suspended from the Commons. A suspension of 10 days or more could trigger a recall petition, which could potentially see him forced to fight his Clacton seat again. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. This is it. These are the cracks. This is it beginning. We all know that if he was forced to try and go for a seat again in Clacton, he wouldn't win it. However, to put a tinfoil hat on, maybe that's what he wants, because then that way he wouldn't have to come up with some lie to slink out of politics. Although again, on the third hand, if he lost this seat, that I feel like that would probably mean he couldn't be the leader of Reform UK anymore because he's no longer an MP. Honestly, it's all up in the air at the minute. But Farage, do you have anything to say about this? Guess not. He's missing again. Just like he was the last time when the 5 million came up, he's gone again. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And until next time, let's see these cracks continue to form.